Hello, everyone. We are live again on the hackathon AMA session for all the people who wants to be part of this global hackathon made by Edge Impulse during this November. So David, so we are streaming live on YouTube, LinkedIn, but as well on our Discord. So you can go actually to discord.gg/edgeimpulse if you want to be on our Discord. I see some familiar faces there. But David and Brian, feel free as well to join the stage of Discord. I hope that you see me well there.
I can see you over there. Now my question is, how do I join the stage?
Maybe I can do
Let's
that.
see.
Wait a sec. Open stage. I just opened stage. Maybe that's not what I wanted. Wait a sec.
I join the stage over there.
It's a drag and drop thing. No.
Well, let's see here.
More.
No audio again.
Maybe I can block you. Okay, not audible. Okay.
I think because your mic is taken by, this is what Jim was talking about earlier. Your mic is taken by StreamYard.
No, wait a sec. Oh my God.
Oh, come on, Discord.
Please join Discord stage. So you can help there.
Let's see. I'm trying. You know what? I don't know that I have the ability to. It says I'm in the stage, but you are the speaker. Right. I'm in the audience.
I don't know how to do that. Leave the stage.
I don't either.
Options.
Oh, Discord.
Okay, right to speak. Okay, I invited Brian. Could you please talk to see if we listen to you?
Yeah, can everyone hear me in the Discord?
Yes, I hear you in the Discord.
I can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's with your audio again, Mark.
Yep.
Okay, my audio problem. Let me restart. I don't know. Let me leave and come back. Give me a sec.
All right, so everyone in Discord, thank you for joining. Sorry for the little bit of a delayed start here. We're trying to feed audio through a few different systems and go live in a few places at once. And as always, it's causing a bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to get it sorted, and we appreciate your patience here. In the meantime, anyone in Discord, if you have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll be getting to those throughout this session here today.
Mark, can you add me?
No, there is a phase on Discord. So a hand where you can request to speak. So just press that. And
I see a hand. Okay.
Invite to speak. Okay, fantastic. Can you hear me on Discord now?
Yes, yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. So now I think we are ready. We are ready on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Discord. It's not the best setup ever, but let's try to do this AMA session. I think this is the most important thing, right? That we can be with the community and try to see how we can help them to present their projects to the hackathon, and then as well answer some questions about Edge Impulse. So yeah, feel free to leave your questions in the chat. And anyway, I see Ed Venturon that wants to get on stage to speak. Before that, because we are on YouTube and LinkedIn first, feel free to leave your question in the chat first, because then if not, people from YouTube will not be able to listen to you yet. We need to fix that. We need to create something to do that bridge. So yeah, let's introduce ourselves. Maybe Brian, you were not here last week. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't here last week, but I was here the week before that, and there was only a handful of people. But I'm Brian McFadden. I'm a developer relations engineer at Edge Impulse, so I'm on the same team as David and Mark here. And I've been with Edge Impulse for coming up on 3 years now. And before DevRel, I was in solutions. So I was working with customers, dealing with a lot of actual real world applications. So I'm going to be popping in and out of these hackathon sessions to be a resource to answer your questions, guide you along the right path, let you know what we're looking for, and really just be here for you to help you guys get the most out of this hackathon over the next month.
Fantastic. David, do you want to do a tweet introduction about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you who were here last week, you met us in the dungeon down in the basement of the Hilton as we were at Embedded World North America last week. But I'm David Tischler. I'm a developer relations engineer here at Edge Impulse. I've been here, I think, maybe possibly coming up on 4 years, 3.5. I don't know. I've kind of lost track of time. And I've been on the DevRel team the entire time. So this is the first time, however, that we've done a global hackathon like this. So I'm excited to see those submissions start coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exciting. And my name is Mark Pose. I'm developer relations, as my colleagues David and Brian, as well, helping to organize this global hackathon. And as well, super excited. We have been contacted by HackerEarth, our partner, who is managing all the submissions and everything. And yeah, they are our help with all the submissions and participants registered. So, but we want more, actually. No, we want more thousands of people registering and submitting amazing projects. So this is why, yeah, we want to give more hints and more tricks and more, and help you with more bits and pieces to help you to succeed. And today, actually, I wanted to talk about the model track. I'm not an expert on building models, so I wanted that you have more experience than me at Edge Impulse can give some light on the model, how to build a successful model, as a performant model. So what's your experience?
Oh, that is a very broad and open-ended question, Mark. There's a lot that goes into it. The very first thing that comes to mind is the hackathon itself. Can you give us a quick reminder? There's 2 distinct tracks, correct? If you want to bring up the hackathon page, let's take a quick glance at the hackathon itself and the 2 different tracks. And then from there, I'll be happy to dive into a little bit about model creation.
Absolutely.
But let's back up one step first.
So I'm going to share my screen on YouTube. I'm going to share the link on Discord. Okay. So sorry for that. But basically, yeah, we have the hackathon. And we have 2 tracks. The first one is Edge AI application track. We are going to focus on that next week to give some tricks and ideas and hints. We are happy to receive your questions in advance as well. And we have basically, so yeah, if you want to apply on Edge AI application track, basically, you need to develop an Edge AI application using Edge Impulse that can run on embedded hardware, such as from Arduinos, ESP32s, Rubik Pis, Raspberry Pis, Android, your laptop, so anything, right? And we are looking for people that fixes problems and apply some creativity to fix some of the problems that you have using Edge AI. We have the second track, which is the model development track. And here what we want to see is developers trying to solve problems, but just building the machine learning models, right? For audio, vision, or time series data coming from sensors, right? So the goal of the model development track is basically build models that can be the foundational model for a lot of future Edge AI applications, and can run efficiently and can be performant for Edge AI devices. Is this what you asked me to introduce, David?
Yeah. So application, okay, or model development. Got it. And your question was how to build a good model. And I said, well, it depends. That's pretty much the answer to everything, right? So if you are going to create a submission that is focused on the model development track, we can see here from the page that you want to emphasize data set quality. Scroll down a tiny little bit, Mark. Use case and iterations and research. So, last week we spoke a bit about how to document a project, how to do a high quality write-up of your submission. Definitely go back and watch that episode if you need some tips or tricks on what makes a high quality submission. But here for this one, more specific to the model track, the data set quality. Okay, that is critical. I think we actually did touch on this last week, but it's critical in your model. Okay, high quality data in helps to result in high quality data, a high quality model output. So, high quality data, of course, is data that is representative of the problem, data that is diverse. I think we may have touched on that last week as well. Different lighting conditions, different camera angles, if it's a computer vision project, if it's an audio project like keyword spotting, different tone, different accents, different voices, in time series data, taken in different conditions, environmental conditions, they just however you can vary your environment around. Let me look at these bullet points, though. Data sets should be well documented and relevant to the use case, right? Of course, data set must be open source with permissive licenses, including commercial use. Participants are encouraged to collect their own data sets. Okay, so that's an important one. There's definitely a lot of open source data sets available on the internet, but we'd really like to see you going out and collecting data. There's obviously no shortage of, image data sets out there, but if you're going to be building something that's specific to a use case, it would be nice to see data that you have collected. Use case model should be designed for a specific use case. Okay. What is the problem that you're trying to solve? What is it that you are tackling? Of course, you also want to document that well, like I mentioned a moment ago, and how to document a project. But what is the problem you're seeking to achieve? And how does the data set become an input to the model to come away with a solution to that issue? Models can target classification, anomaly detection, object detection, regression. Like I said a moment ago, Edge Impulse supports time series data for sensors, audio data for audio classification or keyword spotting, or computer vision. So that is your image classification or object detection use cases. And iterations and research. And this is where we'll probably dive a little bit deeper here, because this is really what I want to see some innovation around and some documentation around. To build a good model, all the way back to your beginning question, Mark, takes iteration and experimentation. Very rarely when I build a model do I come away with a great high accuracy generalizable model on my first try. Many times I go through the process iteratively and go through just general scientific method of trying a couple of variations, trying a few experiments, seeing what works the best, and then follow that path. And again, experiment, iterate, general scientific method. Have a hypothesis, test it, get an outcome, review the results, and try again. Just continual improvement. And I think that's how I go about building a good high quality model in the end. I don't know, Brian, do you get a high quality model, accurate, performant, generalizable on your first shot every time? Because I sure don't.
I would love to say yes, but absolutely not. And I was thinking about my own answer to this question, and basically you answered a lot of the things. Is when people think about a high quality model, they often go right to what's the best architecture, how many layers can I have, how many weights, what do I need to design? But really, so much of it comes down to your data set quality. And I know that's kind of vague, like what is a high quality data set? But from my own experience working with customers, it was, does your data set actually represent the problem you're trying to solve? Like, does it actually have images? If you're doing an image or object detection project, does it actually reflect what you're trying to solve? And does it reflect the real world conditions where that model will be deployed? I know this isn't about deploying this track. It's just about the model itself. So my next point was the third bullet there, or the fourth bullet, the iterations and research. And that's exactly where we'll be taking a look at. It's not that we want you to build an LLM and it's this massive, amazing model. It's more about showing the progress of your starting point to your finishing point. How did you improve? What steps did you take to improve? Did you use the experimentations feature in Edge Impulse Studio? Did you reorganize your data, collect more data? Just the variety of things of how you improved it over time. Because we also realize you're working with the developer version of the platform. Most likely you have a certain amount of compute. We're not building massive, huge models. And then that's where the use case comes in. And when you have a specific use case, you can collect specific data for that. And it makes it a lot more narrow and a smaller model to train than if you were trying to do something generalized. So I may have repeated a lot of what Dave just said there, but high quality data set, meaning the data actually reflects the problem you're trying to solve. How did you show your progress? Doesn't mean it has to be 100% accuracy for your model. It's more, how did you improve? What iterations and research did you do? And then is it for a specific use case? And personally, for me, the use case is going to be interesting when it's a creative use case, when it's something we haven't seen before, when it's something that isn't an exact copy of one of our expert network projects or the like. Definitely you can copy that and improve on something, but what's going to stand out to me more would be uniqueness and creativity in the use case.
And I would add something that I think David mentioned that it's very relevant. Please document every step and everything, right? Share the story. I think this is going to give a lot of points, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would be... I don't know if I'm actually judging any of these projects. I'm not sure if you included me as a judge, Mark. I'll find out. But the point I was going to make is this, is I would, if I were judging, maybe I am, I don't even know. But if I were judging, I would be looking at the documentation to understand, the submission, to understand what parameters had an effect. Did you need to train for more cycles, more epochs? Did that actually drive an incremental bit of accuracy in the model? Or perhaps at a certain point, training additional cycles, training additional epochs doesn't really actually make an impact. And instead, it's those other parameters that really are what are helping to improve the model. That could be additional layers. That could be batch size. That could be, I'm trying to think what else is in there. Does the resolution matter of the input on the pipeline? 120 pixels if it's computer vision, 240 pixels, 360 pixels. Does it really make a difference to the accuracy? And all of that experimentation that you're performing, that's what I want to know about. More so than you came away with 94% accuracy versus 95% accuracy. The 1% isn't the important bit. It's the research and what the values that go into the pipeline and go into the training of the neural network. That's what I want to learn more about. And what was the process you took there? And what was the impact as you go through those iterations? What was the impact? And that's what I want to learn about.
And maybe we can link these question and answers with the question that we got from Bentoron on Discord, right? So he's saying these. I'm gonna
on Discord.
So I have hardware building instructions too on my project. Can I just link in the README of the Edge Impulse projects like an instructor link, or is it advised to put it in some other way? So probably this is related to the Edge AI project, but anyway, I think we need to give here the advice. What do you think, guys? Should he or she put the just the link to Instructables or Hackster or whatever?
Hardware building instructions. I mean, it's a good question because we're talking about these two distinct tracks in the hackathon: the model creation as well as the application. And Venturon is asking about, well, I got to build some hardware. I would say include it. Rather than linking out to a secondary location or repository, which I get it, Instructables has a great platform for documenting how to build a hardware project. They really do excel at that specific use case. But in the context of one complete and thorough submission, I would say include it here. I realize that the goal of the hackathon is the model track or the application track, but I would count the hardware build as steps in the overall process. If I want to just be able to, in one location, review start to finish an Edge AI solution, I kind of don't want to have to go pop out to Instructables, follow a build. Once I'm satisfied that the build is properly completed, then return back to whether it's the Edge Impulse Studio or the Hacker Earth submission place that I'm looking. I think it's better to just have an end-to-end, start-to-finish tutorial or submission and documentation. And we talked about that a little bit last week, where an introduction, a body, a conclusion, just like I learned in school. And so if the hardware build is part of it, then I would include it here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. And then you can add references, or bibliography or something at the end, right? And add it. Like this part, it's maybe from someone else or it's mine, but here's the link. But I add everything here. So it's in one unique place, all the explanation of the why and the hardware setup and everything.
Yeah,
I think it makes a lot of sense. What do you think, Brian? Would you add it as well on the?
It's 2 votes for including it here. So we've already
Brian
won, Mark. Hold on,
please.
It's already he could vote no, but we've already
But maybe he convinced me. Maybe
you don't know my argument yet.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say it depends on what track you're applying to. So if you're doing the Edge AI application track, I think it's important to have that information because it's a part of the complete application. And to David and Mark's point is that I don't know if I'm judging this either, but if I am a panelist, like the least amount of work you can make me do, because I don't even know if I need to sign up for Instructables. Is it public? Do I need a separate account or anything like that? So if you can include it in the README in the GitHub repo or the README of your Edge Impulse project, it's one complete package. I think that makes sense. If it was the model track, I'd be less concerned about the hardware. And on that track, if you linked out to a different site, that would be fine. And I admit I probably wouldn't look at the hardware for the model track. I might, maybe take a peek, but it's more
Let me
for
disagree
the
with that.
You disagree with that? Okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think it's important sometimes to have a specific setup, right? To take samples of your data, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you
That's
need,
true.
I don't know, in a
The
specific,
data
I don't know,
set
I'm thinking on
collection.
a
Well,
bird
the
feeder. You want to,
The short
or
answer
you
is we're 3 for 3 included in your documentation in the README. Don't link it out somewhere else. I think that's the short answer,
Yeah.
Venturan. So hopefully that answers your
Yeah.
question.
and anything, if it's a model or not, or a AGI application, yes, in
Yeah.
capital letters.
Yeah, include it as part of the README or however you're documenting your package.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah, and he
Did
did
you
give.
mention? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say he did give some extra info there, saying it's an UnoQ app, and he'll have a repository link for that too. So a bit unsure of how to document all of it.
Yeah, if it's going into App Lab, they might have their own places where you put the README, or they might have certain guidelines and things. And of course, that would be an external repository. But I mean, you might. I don't know enough about how the App Lab works quite yet, but you might end up with a large copy paste job. I'm not entirely sure, and that would be fine too. It would be nice if it's exposed in the App Lab. That's a great location for end users to make to make further use of this submission. So that's good. All right, what else? Did we answer your question, Mark? What makes a good model?
So maybe you can share a little bit how to document things as well, because we were talking about good documentation, but maybe we didn't explain how to do the real submission, right? Not on HackerEarth, but what do we expect? And this is going a little bit out of, we have Maker Brains here on YouTube. Hello. Maybe this goes a little bit out, but I think it's interesting maybe to share. So what do we need? So I think we need a GitHub repository, right? With the code that you are using for your Edge application, or actually in case, I don't know, I'm imagining people just training a time series sensor or something, model, and trying to capture the data or the samples in a specific way that they need to code something, right? So maybe they need to share the code, right, for that, if they are taking, I don't know, the vibration of something. Or
I haven't looked exactly at what you've got here on the HackerEarth documentation, but and if we're discussing only the model track, not the application track, I would envision, I guess, a couple of different bits. Yeah, certainly a model could be trained natively within the studio. So I would certainly need a public project URL. The documentation itself, is that submission, is the form there in HackerEarth? Once you sign up, you register, maybe you form a team, maybe it's an individual submission. That submission and documentation is all entered through their platform. But if there is code involved, do they allow for the submission of that code directly, or do you need a public GitHub link? I would think it would be better to have a publicly available GitHub link. Would be my initial thought, unless either of you have a varying opinion there.
Yeah, let me answer your question.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, you will need a project title.
Okay.
Then you will select a theme, edge application track or model. Oops, you don't see that. But yeah, if you click on select a theme,
drop down.
Yeah, it's a drop down. Okay. Then you have a project description. You can just create an abstract of your project description that it's on the README of Edge Impulse and the README of your GitHub repository. Okay, built with, I don't know what does it mean, but
tag the framework or tools.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then upload the snapshots of your project so it looks more impressive. Yeah, if you have like a headshot image, not headshot, but like an image that represents your project. So this will be like this will be one of the images that will represent. If you can record a video, this is a plus, right? So we will. It can be super interesting if you can do like a 2-3 minute video explaining why you did what you built, why did you build it, etc. You don't need to put a presentation, but then we need your repository link.
Okay, so that's for the GitHub there.
I'm missing here the Edge Impulse project link as well. So Edge Impulse. Yeah, let me take the note. It was here, Edge Impulse. So what do we need? Project.
Yeah, link to a public project.
Exactly.
Which is essentially the studio. Yeah, there you go. In the studio.
This is my project on Studio. Yep. On Edge Impulse Studio, the object detection for rubber duckies, right? We have some on what's on your desk. It's
we have some right here.
It's all about rubber ducks. Wait a second.
Here he is.
Show it.
Well, I got a lot of them. Green. We had, how many did we have? Yeah, I got lots of them, sure.
So, what do we need to do? My recommendation is, of course, you have a GitHub repository with all the information. But then you can see about this project in the dashboard of your studio project. So go and edit the README. This is Markdown, so you can copy and paste maybe from your GitHub repository, but this is relevant because this will appear on the Edge Impulse project.
So that's where the documentation for the project will live. Got it. That's great.
And then what you will need to do is basically publish a version of this project. Click here and store the version. Okay. And this may appear here, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yep. It sure will.
So what do we want? We want projects. Yeah, in this case, about this project is just 2 lines, no? If I'm not wrong, or it's just 2 lines.
About you mean just the a brief just knocked over my keyboard. A brief 2-line description of what the project is. Yeah, there it is.
But yeah, it's just these couple of lines. But if you can have like the project description or an abstract of your project, that's going to be very helpful. Add your GitHub repository here link as well, so people can just go and clone this project and just use it straightforward. But let's try to go to other. Yeah, for example, if we go to this project, you can see that the README from the studio, it's a little bit longer with an image.
Yeah.
So we strongly recommend that you can put like an abstract of your project, some images, some information as well on the README of Edge Impulse, and just publish the project so anyone can just clone this model, this project on their Edge Impulse account and basically start testing it themselves. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so let me recap what you were saying there, Mark. The first is the HackerEarth submission form, and that is kind of the project overview, has a description, has the links to your Edge Impulse project, maybe your GitHub repository. maybe has a couple of screenshots or a video, but it's kind of the overview page. And then in the Edge Impulse project README, that's where you can go in more depth into the steps you took for the actual project. And then say you were doing the application track and you had code, that would be in a GitHub repository. So it sounds like it's those 3 ways we're looking for information: the Hacker submission form, the Edge Impulse project README, and your GitHub repository README.
Yeah, indeed. So the idea is that, that to me, the single source of truth should be the GitHub repository. And I'm not sure if this is what you understood or not. And then, an abstract might be part of the README of the Edge Impulse Studio. Yes, makes sense.
I'm good with either of those approaches. Or I shouldn't say either. I'm good with. So the Hacker Earth submission is just a submission form. That's just an indication that somebody has entered the hackathon. Okay, fine, no problem. Now the question then becomes, is the full documentation and write-up going to live in GitHub, or is it going to live here, what you have on screen in the studio?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
One of those 2 locations needs to have the complete end-to-end tutorial. They're both essentially markdown. Doesn't really make a difference as to which location, but which one do you want to see? Is it GitHub or is it right here within the studio? And I'm not sure that I have too much of an opinion. Tell me one way or the other. You guys each get a vote.
For me, I think it depends on the track. If I'm doing the Edge AI application track, I'm going to have code. I'm going to have a GitHub repository. That is my source of truth. That's where everything lives.
Okay.
If I'm doing the model development track and I don't need any code, I'm just doing some models, I would use the project README.
That's a good point.
Good idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm sold. All right. Decision's been made.
Yeah, 3-0.
Yep.
Yeah. Consensus.
Yep. It makes total sense to me. I agree 110%. Yep. So in either case, it's going to be dependent. Okay.
And something else too, though, as we were kind of talking about, maybe it wasn't on this call, but the model, you're not entirely restricted to creating the model in Edge Impulse. You need to use Edge Impulse Studio, maybe use the bring your own model. But so that throws in a third option. And if you're training in a notebook, maybe a notebook is your project source of truth.
Yeah, that's true too.
I think the main point is that we want a single source of truth that documents the entire project in one place. And you let us know in your Hacker Earth submission where that source of truth is.
Yep. Yeah, we hadn't, that's also a good point. You could train a model elsewhere, just locally, PyTorch, whatever. You could train it in AWS. You can train, wherever, and bring your own model.
That's a very good.
And then you
point.
want to get into.
We will clarify this in the Hacker documentation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. True.
I got a private message actually last week, and I just remember checking my notes that I had these. So someone was asking me, I built a model, but how can I increase my model performance? What do you think?
Well, define performance. Is that accuracy, or is that inference speed and latency? What exactly does performance mean? Yeah, like the answer to everything, it depends.
You know what I did, David?
Read it again? What did it say? What did the note say?
Before I get you
Yeah.
rambling around, I just
Yeah.
Googled for it and I found these.
What does it say? What does Google say? Oh my goodness, model performance. It's all documented right
So
there.
let me
Well, would
share
you
it in
look
Discord
at
as
that?
well.
Would you look at that?
So yeah, this is on guides optimization that we have in our amazing docs. So yeah, this is a guide for optimizing your model performance. Maybe there is not enough data. Maybe your data does not look like the data that you see in production, right? Maybe the model has not been trained enough, right? There are some, from training cycles to the training rate to other parameters. Yeah, sometimes in the forums we see this, that I got 90-something% accuracy in my model on when I test in the lab, but it performs really bad in production.
Yeah,
So
in the real
it's a way to.
world. Yeah, we spoke about that last week as well. Class imbalance, too much, over-representation of your data. Scroll down as well, Mark.
Yeah, and something that I'm not good enough actually is the neural network architecture not a good fit for your data. I think this is something as well super important to take into account.
Yeah. I mean, you can run experiments with different backbones. Yeah.
We have the class imbalance, no?
Overrepresentation. Yep.
Exactly. When you have multiple classes.
Yeah, like in that one, it's if you scroll up just a tiny bit, it says if you have 90% of your data as idle and 10% as wave, your neural network is gonna lean towards idle. So yeah, keep scrolling. Yeah. This looks like it's got quantized and unoptimized float 32 as well. That's another factor to consider. Yeah.
Put that link as well on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then we have the difference between quantized and unoptimized model performance. What can you say here?
I don't know that I have a much good context to add. Brian, do you have any experience on the int 8 versus float 32 performance?
Could you repeat the question? Because I was looking at comments on YouTube and Discord.
Yeah. Large difference, between quantized and unoptimized versus 32 from a performance perspective. I mean, if the context is performance, I think maybe that includes a bit about how much memory and how fast is the device you're working on. Once you get up into the larger devices, if we're not talking about just pure accuracy, if we're talking about performance, then there's some hardware element to it. If we're referring to accuracy, well, yeah, you're definitely going to lose some accuracy quantizing down to int 8. So could you get away with a float 32? And do you gain a few extra % accuracy? Do you have any experience with it?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to, the very first comment I was going to say, we need to define what performance is. And a lot of people say performance is accuracy, but not necessarily. It totally depends on your application. It's like, what is important for your application? Latency might be more important to sacrifice a little bit of accuracy. And typically an int 8 model is going to have smaller weights, smaller model is going to run a little bit faster, depending if there's a casting or not of values. But typically it would be a smaller model. Maybe you have hardware resource constraints and you can only fit an int 8 model on there. So it really depends on the goals of the application and what's most important, because there's always these trade-offs. You might have a higher accuracy model, but it's float 32 and bigger, but then it doesn't fit on your device, but then it runs too slow. So it's this constant balance of evaluating what is most important for your specific application. And with all the customers I've worked with, it's never the exact same. Some people value inference time, like low latency, and some value accuracy. It really just depends on what you're looking at and where you're using the model.
Yep, that makes
Absolutely.
sense.
We have a question from Thomas. Sorry that David was still thinking on quantized versus unoptimized. But Thomas Wikstrom mentioned, related to the application track, Mark mentioned that a PC would count as an edge device. I will develop on a PC, and then the intention is to deploy it on a Raspberry Pi, if times allows, but might be tight. Do you agree that a PC is an edge device?
Thomas knows the answer to this question. Thomas, a PC is not an edge device. No, I tease. It could be an edge device. How about a factory? And in a factory, let's think about a large factory with lots of assembly lines going. And somewhere in that factory, there is infrastructure that makes the whole thing work. There could be cloud servers, there could be local servers, and there could be a PC at the end location, at the inspection point, as that widget is coming down the assembly line. That is the furthest spoke or node in that architecture. That then means it's an edge device. However, it's got unlimited electric and power, and it's got high-speed networking most likely, versus some other definition of edge device, which could be a little microcontroller in a forest running on solar and battery for years with no connectivity.
A racist of edge AI devices.
Edge AI. So yeah, a PC absolutely could be an edge device. It all depends on the context. And Thomas, you very rarely work with the luxury of a PC.
No, but basically as well, we think that PCs can be used for the use case that you mentioned. So some people maybe don't have the availability of hardware, sadly.
Yep. PC is absolutely an edge device then.
Exactly. Should be the same if you're running a Linux operating system with the libraries and everything, and you document everything very well, that we can basically...
Thomas is used to running models on tiny devices. He's not gonna know what to do with the resources available on a PC.
But yeah, I hope that that answered the question, Thomas. What else? More questions from the community? What other things you think we can share? Because I had a very good idea, actually. I think we never shared here about, we didn't talk about the AI at the Edge ebook that we are writing the next edition. But I think it's a great place basically to, let me paste these here. Meanwhile, people are writing questions, but I think it's a great place to get ideas, right? And get, basically get ideas on Edge AI application or models or ideas to build models that can be interesting for the hackathon.
Yeah, ideas for sure. And some of the topics that we've even been discussing, data set quality model, high quality model, performance, all of that is in there. Absolutely. Let me grab this link also and drop it in YouTube.
Yeah, that book is packed with information. I forget what chapter it is, but there's a couple great chapters that would help with the application track and how to define an Edge AI project and what do you need start to finish. Like I've read most of this book. I will admit I haven't read all of it, but it is loaded with information. It's packed.
Can you skip the chapter?
I don't think I got to the end. I don't think I finished all the chapters.
Next time you're on an airplane going somewhere, you finish it up.
But I share this here
Yeah.
because everyone can
Yeah.
download the PDF for free.
Yeah, the PDF is free. Yep.
Of course, you can go to O'Reilly or Amazon or whatever your favorite
Yeah.
library shop and buy
Yeah.
it in paper, in real paper. But as well, you can just go
Yeah.
to this website and get the PDF for free.
Yep.
Yeah, just some
We have
comments
more
in
questions.
Discord. Yeah, sorry, go for it, Mark.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say there's a question about the Hacker Earth submission. Should I include the video of my projects working in real time? I'm working on Edge AI. I imagine that means Edge AI application. And I think you said there was a video submission location in that Hacker Earth form, Mark. And I think absolutely, if you've got a working video of your project, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see it for sure.
Unless
other
it's really
people were
hard
saying-
and your camera is in the top of a tree and
Yeah, it depends on the definition of the edge. If it's not going to be possible, then all right, we understand. But yeah, if you can get some video footage, let's definitely
absolutely.
get that as well.
Yeah. And then related to the ebook, just some people saying thank you. And then there is another recommendation, which is the Tiny ML Cookbook is also a good resource from Gianmarco Iodici. Dicey?
Yep.
I don't know how to say the last name.
Gianmarco Iodici. Yes. It was previously at ARM, might still be. I'm not sure. I haven't caught up with him in a while. He may still actually be at ARM. I shouldn't say was at ARM. But yes, that is also a very, very good book as well. In the cookbook, so it's got tangible projects in there. Yeah, thanks for that recommendation, Mark. And good to see you in here, Mark.
What else are we missing for this? I think we are going to iterate the submission forms. I see as well on YouTube MakerBrains mentioning that the build with option is not working. I tried to enter tags, but not. Yeah, I guess not working. Yeah, we are gonna delete the tags. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on.
I'm gonna contact Hacker Earth, and we are gonna iterate the submission form. Sorry for that. We were on Embedded World North America last week, and we didn't have time to double check that. But we are gonna iterate the submission form, and yeah, we will make it more. We will try to reduce friction there. Right. What else? What other recommendations?
Well, no other recommendations, but maybe just a little recap of what we talked about today and the resources. So today was all about the model development track, and what we're looking for is on that Hacker Earth, the Edge Impulse contest site. There's the 4 or 5 bullet points there talking about data quality is important, the model itself, the iterations and experimentation. So all that information's there of what we're looking for. We did talk about documentation again. So having a single source of truth, we're not too picky on where that single source of truth is, whether it's your GitHub repo, whether it's a notebook, whether it's the README and Edge Impulse Studio project. Great resources are this AI at the Edge book. There should have been the link for the PDF, I think, went out. So that's good. And then the Tiny ML cookbook. A PC can be an edge device. It's a powerful edge device, but it all depends. In terms of hardware build, yes, we like to see that, but keep it in the single source of truth. If you have videos of your project, that just makes it look a little bit more polished when we're reviewing applications. Did I miss anything? What else did we talk about? We showed public projects. And maybe a big thing is that these sessions are good for asking us questions, but we're available all week in Discord, and we all work in different time zones. So Discord is probably the best place to get help with this. There's a dedicated hackathons channel, not just the 3 of us, but the rest of the DevRel team is looking in there as well. So definitely recommend joining our Discord, getting in that channel. And even if you're looking for teammates, people are in there looking to partner up with other people. You might find someone that you build your future company with. So get in there, take a look, start talking to people, and we're excited to see what you build.
Absolutely. And talking about time zones, actually, something relevant from Wednesday, we are going to do a weekly AMA session with more friendly for India and European time zone. So we are going to do it at 11 Central European time zone, 11 a.m. So yeah, people based in India or Asia and in Europe or Africa will have like a better, more friendly time to join this session. And then we will keep on Mondays as we have now this AMA session, more friendly for North America and Latin America.
Ventron says
Ventron mentioned that it's 12:30 in the night. So from Wednesdays, it's already on Discord scheduled. You will see different faces. So that's gonna be fantastic, and we will keep doing these 2 sessions. One more India, Asia, and Europe friendly time zones, and another one for North America, Latin America. And I think that's all. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. I think
what
that
else?
should do it.
Fantastic. So see you on Wednesday if this is a more friendly time zone for you during the European morning. If not, see you next Monday. And feel free, as Brian mentioned, to ask any questions. If you don't have a team and you want to find other team members as well, feel free to go to our Discord channel, discord.gg/@impulse. And yeah, looking forward to see all the submissions.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We appreciate your time on this and looking forward to see what you build.
See ya.
Bye.